Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. This is Thursday Tier Talk. Halloween is out of the way and the road to Christmas has begun. If you'd be so kind as to smash a sub on the channel, also hit that bell notification to alert you of any content that we release. And if you're enjoying the videos, of course, drop a like on the videos. Very, very important to us. We're getting some really good viewership at the moment on some of the match reactions and stuff like that. But if a percentage of them would just give us a sub, we would be doing very, very well. So we appreciate your support as always. We welcome you to our shows every Monday and Thursday, of course. The shows I do with my co-host, the Dazzler himself. Darren, how are we?
I'm all good, pal. How are you?
Mr. Thursday night.
Mr. Thursday. Good to be back in the chair, pal. I missed it on Monday night, I have to say. I kept looking around and I was like, what time is it now? I should be somewhere and all. It was obviously the bank holiday through us a little bit, but I was getting real itchy and all agitated. Even my missus was like, where should you be about now? I was like, say nothing. I was getting all twitchy and all, you know. You know how much I value,
nearly, isn't
it? You know how much I value like my routine and you know how I do things. That strand of autism I have going on, that undiagnosed autism.
Oh god, yeah. Morris in the comments, how are you, Morris? Make sure guys you go over and check out Morris's podcast. Some excellent stuff going up there at the moment. Rocking a nice green top tonight. Morris was telling me over the weekend. Morris was for Halloween. He was DJing at a wedding, and it was a fancy dress wedding. Yeah, it looked pretty impressive.
I didn't say it was a fancy dress, but it was actually. Remember, I went down to Kilkenny a couple of weeks ago to the Jurassic Experience thing.
Yeah,
it was in the same hotel, the New Park Hotel. Really nice hotel, shitty Jurassic Experience, but really nice hotel. And we had food in it and stuff like that. It was a nice spot. Morris DL New Park was down there about 4 weeks ago, maybe 5. Nice hotel, I have to say.
So you didn't update me. How was your Halloween? How did the kids get on and everything?
Not a bother. There was a Halloween party, and then there was trick or treating, and then there was fireworks, and you know the whole shooting match. So it was busy. And then what I did was the Jurassic playground. That's exactly what it was, Morris. That's exactly what it was.
Morris,
Morris, I'm not joking. I thought I was going to go all Jurassic on that playground and rip the thing to shreds by the end of it. But what I did was, you know, it was really cool. I did something my dad used to do with me when I was a kid, right?
I just wanted to say to Morris before you get into that, the nearest Morris he got to a T-Rex, they were playing Mark Bolan, I think, in the background or something like that. That's the nearest that man got to a T-Rex.
Oh yeah, I did something my dad used to do with me. So, you know, when you hit a certain age and your dad's like, all right, listen, we go around and have a little look at the bonfires. You know, when you bring you around in the car to all the underprivileged areas, you know, Darren Down, the likes of that. And big shout out to the Darren Down Massive. All right, lads. And I brought my own young fella on a little spin. We went around a few of the places you have to go through in your bulletproof vest when you're driving your car through. Like, so went around and had a little sneak peek at what was going on and all the shenanigans of a Halloween. I have to say, the funniest thing I saw, I thought it was absolutely priceless. It was teeming down with rain, don't forget. Now, it was absolutely wellying down with rain. It's about 10:30. I'm driving by a couple of bonfires, you know, and there's a couple of lads standing there, can in one hand, umbrella in the other, at the bonfire. And I was like, this is great. All civilized lads.
We're Irish. The weather would never stop us. We're Irish.
Just standing there, umbrella in one hand, can of Dutch mould in the other. I just thought, I've arrived. This is brilliant. It's very funny.
Awesome. What was the costumes of choice for the kids? What did they dress up as?
Brody was Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
And Tallulah was Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Very nice. Good choices.
Brody looked fairly good now, I have to say, because obviously he had the slick hair all across him and he had his Portugal kit on that we got when we were in Villamora, and had Brody in number 7 and he had a little Nike Astros on with him and the whole thing. Looked well. Shame Ronaldo's a cunt, but anyway, another day at the office.
Did all right tonight though. That was a lovely ball for Garnacho and a lovely goal.
It was a good ball. It was the kid took the goal so well. He really did. I just still think like it's performances, his level of commitment and what he's trying to do. Like he gets the ball and like rather than looking at what passes are available, it's just like get the ball, see if I can create space and see if I can jar one into the top corner so we can go off and do this celebration and make it look like I'm pulling me weight. You're not, pal. Like you're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, and anyone that's believing it is even worse. Like, do you know what I mean?
The flick out on the wing to put your man away as well was decent, wasn't it? It was nice bit of play in fairness. Actually, if that had been a goal, that was a brilliant piece of team play. Actually,
the move from back to front was very good. But listen, it's a little drag back and a flick around the corner, but he's acres of space to do it. There's nobody, you know what I mean? Listen, I'm not taking it away. It's a beautiful piece. If we scored a goal, you're looking at it going, look at that. But it's just at times like he can be so selfish and everything's about him, and it's. If it's not him getting, you see him put the kid in and he goes over and he's celebrating with the kid, but you can see he's kind of going, you wouldn't have got that on for me, son. And you're just thinking, pal, give it a rest, would you? Jesus.
Yeah, he kind of hung on longer than the others to be on the camera with him, didn't he? He hung back a little bit longer than
you know what I mean? He just it's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Morris. Hope you didn't send Cristiano to bed early for disciplinary reasons.
You never know, Morris.
You never know. The main man is in again. What's the bleeding story, boys? Del, what is the story with that road trip in the truck? Fill us in. Let us know what went on. You were missing in action. We were worried about you. Warren was on to me at the weekend saying he was speaking to you on the phone, and the last time you heard from you, you were getting into a row in a chipper or something like that. We thought you'd be in body bags somewhere down the west or something like that. So we didn't hear from you for a few days. But fill us in on the trip. Morris back in the comments as well. He went down around. There was I think it was a truck show around Galway and Roscommon and stuff like that. He was delighted. He described it as being back home. So interesting, but there was something.
He likes his trucks out there, boy.
Yeah, the gate crashed a wedding as well, as far as I know, and stuff like that. Looked pretty cool and stuff like that. But Warren, we were very worried about him there at the weekend because Warren said to me he was talking to him on the phone. Next thing the phone went off and a row had kicked off in a chipper or something like that, or there was words being had in a chipper or something like that. So no one heard from him then for a day. Mason Mount versus Granit Xhaka this weekend. It's only one winner, Granit Xhaka.
I think you're right. He's been immense, hasn't he?
Yeah, the way I judge those lineups is if I'm in around a nightclub, do I want Mason Mount behind me or do I want Granit Xhaka? And I want Granit Xhaka all day.
You want Granit Xhaka in front of you, not behind you. Because I'd say he takes out most of the damage himself. Yeah. The bulldozer that is Granit Xhaka, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Been so impressed with him this season. He's been excellent.
So good.
Before we get into the Premier League preview, let's have a chat about a few things. First of all, you mentioned me, Gerald Piqué retiring this week, his final game for Barcelona.
Yeah, I don't know whether his final game is this week or if he's going to finish at the World Cup break, which would mean this is his final home game, as far as I know.
I think I read some. Yeah, maybe it's his final home one, but they were saying it was his final game on Saturday. Maybe it's his final game in the new camp. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I think he said it's going to be his final game in the new camp, and I think maybe then he plays the game away from home the following week, which is the cut-off then for all the sides for the World Cup and stuff like that. But like.
I think I'd like to finish up in the new camp. Would you?
Yeah, I'm. Listen, he's gonna get. Yeah. It's gonna be some sort of. It's gonna be some sort of response he'll get from the crowd, and some sort of reaction. Yeah. I just think it'll be very, very special. And if I don't know whether you saw it. Did you see the video?
No, I haven't seen the video yet.
He posts a video, on his socials and stuff like that. Now, I didn't see it there. I saw it on Sky Sports Nails, but it'll bring a tear to a glass. So it was amazing. He's been a Barcelona fan since he's a kid. His whole family Barcelona fans. You see him meeting Ronald Koeman when he's about 4 or 5 years of age outside, one of the hotels or something. He's there in his Barca kit, getting the thing autographed, and and he grows from there. And obviously he goes to Barcelona, La Masia and stuff like that. And then he goes to Barca, he heads to United, he goes back to Barca. And he's been an ever-present for Barca since he's gone back. And obviously his international career as well. He's won everything in the game. He's got every major honour you could possibly think of. A superb footballer and generally an all-round good guy, I would have thought, in the football world, you know.
And had the opportunity to play with probably on two separate occasions, I would say, probably the best team we've nearly seen in football. Those two great Barcelona sides. And he was
what I thought you were going to say was two of the best of all time, because don't forget he played with Ronaldo at United, and then he played with Messi at Barcelona. So he also had he was also distinguished enough to play with both of the lads, which it's pretty special. There's very few players that can say that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 396 appearances for Barcelona, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, when you think about that Barcelona side and how it evolved and the players that they brought through and stuff like that and all, but he was ever present in that side all along and stuff like that. So
shall we just talk about the one low point?
The impending separation stroke divorce? Or?
No. There's a lower point than that, because obviously
is there a lower point than that in this globe?
There absolutely is.
Okay.
He was at United, obviously, and Ferguson was jigging around the back four, and he needed to get out one of the centre backs to create room to bring a new centre back into the club.
Yeah.
And it was a toss up about who he was going to allow to leave. It was going to be either Gerard Piqué or it was going to be Johnny Evans. So we had gotten, I think it was around about a £10 million bid for Johnny Evans from like Sunderland or somewhere like that. And Ferguson paid the bid off and sold Gerard Piqué and kept Johnny Evans.
What did Piqué end up going for, if you can remember? What did he sell for, do you know?
I'm gonna say 7.
Wait till I have a look.
I'm gonna say 7 mil, but I'm not sure is the answer. I know it was less than what, or I think it was less than what Evans was going to Sunderland for, which I think was about 9 or 10. What have we got? Go on, kill me.
I haven't got it yet here. I'm trying to.
No.
This is.
Shall I?
Hang on.
Shall I join you here?
I'll get it here now. 5 million.
Yeah, I thought it was about 7, so it might have been 5 million sterling, which is like 7 million euros, something like that. But yeah, it was something pretty small anyway.
It's amazing, isn't it? And that was 2008.
So you're talking about 14 years ago.
Yeah, it still doesn't. It's still, well, I suppose you couldn't have foreseen the player he would become.
No,
but when you look back on it now, 5 million, even for 2008, 5 million ain't big money for a player in 2008 either. Like, you know what I mean? And especially when you think of the service he gave the club. But yeah, fabulous player. But it kind of shows, certainly my age, not so much your age, when you see these players retiring and stuff like that. You know, it's a sad time. You know.
Well, you see, this is a guy that's now younger than me.
Yeah, that's so weird, isn't it? Yeah,
that's weird. You know.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ronaldo's hanging on in there. He's months older than me, I believe, just a couple of months. And like you've seen these guys, and they're starting to hang the boots up, and you're just thinking he's lasted a lot longer than I did, lads.
you're going to jealous going. I'd love to be going off to that golf course in Villamore and retiring.
I tell you what did them the world of good. They weren't playing on that Astro down on the Alfie Burren Road with oh god, that finished many a football career. That thing, I can tell you. Jesus Christ.
2 other ones. Jurgen Klopp, I did a short on it today. Jurgen Klopp getting the freedom of Liverpool City, which I think is well deserved, and joins some distinguished people in there, no less than 97 victims of the Hillsborough disaster, of course, but also the Beatles. and also the man Robert Paisley, Bob Paisley, Liverpool manager and stuff like, to name but a few. So quite. Oh, and Nelson Mandela, President Mandela as well, is on that list as well. So he's with distinguished people on that list.
Yeah, he is, and I think it will have meant an awful lot to him. I think as a player and as a manager, you go through phases in your career where you're going through the motions type thing, and then you find a fit that just fits right for you, and it kind of feels like home, and it's the place you're always most appreciated. You know what I mean? And I think he's found that at Liverpool. He really has. And obviously bringing the league title back after so long plays a huge part in that. But also the way he does things. You know yourself, I'm a huge fan of Klopp, I have to say. And I have a lot of respect for the guy. He's done a tremendous job at Liverpool. He really, really has. And he's brought a lot of joy back to that city. And with what was going on, obviously, with Hillsborough and stuff like that, it was obviously very heavy on the heart and things like that. And I think for the club to be able to lift trophies around the time that was all coming out and stuff, it's significant as well, you know.
Yeah, really, really important. Yeah, great show. Yeah. The only other one I wanted to touch on as well was we're quite close when it comes to goalkeeping and stuff like that. But a man, Manuel Neuer, we'd like to send our best wishes to him. He was diagnosed with cancer, and it's mad, and it's touching when you see him sitting there in the bed and the pictures being posted and stuff like that and all, you know, because of course these are guys we put up as pedestals, as kings. We revere these guys, you know, and we think they're kind of untouchable and stuff like that and all. But it's when you get stories like this, you realise that they're very much just like me and you and anyone else on this planet. But we wish him the best in his recovery and stuff like that. No. But
one of the very, very best. One of the very, very best, I have to say.
Absolutely. Let's take a few comments before we're going to. Del Boy has come back. This is classic. Oh yeah, the chipper. I slagged the young fella about wearing a pink shirt, and I was actually had a pink t-shirt on as well. After how many points and shots, I wonder if you didn't realise you had one on yourself. Quality. The only thing I said to Warren is I hope he's recording it for the channel. It's a tapey classic. And Morris is back in the comments. Harry Kane got the Freedom of London too. Another trophy for the boy. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that doesn't have the same effect, does it? Really?
No, it kind of doesn't. But
trouble in the comments again. Our resident referee, who I think is enjoying a bit of a break, he was telling me he wasn't too far away from me, and I wasn't too far away from you yesterday either. I was down in Tullamore yesterday. Ben was doing his induction into the apprenticeship, and Marky was saying.
I was thinking you weren't too far from me. I was like, that's all miles away.
No, but when you're coming back in and around for Rat Out and stuff like that, you know, it's much closer than I am now.
Right.
And Marky's there, even to the two lads who have the freedom of Dublin and Wicklow.
Dublin and Wicklow. Not wrong.
Yeah. I wouldn't say freedom.
Nope. Those many words you couldn't use there, Marky. But freedom way won't.
Not at all. Let's get into our Premier League preview. So we shall start with, we're kicking off on Saturday with Leeds United versus Bournemouth.
Obviously, Leeds coming off the back of a great result last weekend. A really great result. I don't necessarily think this would be the easiest day at the office, because I think obviously Bournemouth have been playing very, very well recently, and I think Leeds will try and be on the front foot from the word go. You've seen their energy levels and stuff like that at Anfield, but I think Bournemouth will make this very, very difficult. So the boy Kiefer Moore, obviously, he did very well last weekend against Arsenal, and Bournemouth were unlucky not to get. Against Spurs, and Bournemouth were unlucky not to get something out of the game. Spurs really pulled it out of the fire late on, which they did this week in Champions League as well. Another very average performance, but another good result on the road and stuff like that.
Proper smash and grab.
Yeah, it really was. So it's two of them in a row. I mean, it's away at Bournemouth and away in Marseille, you know. I think Leeds might just have enough. And you know what I'm going to throw into the mix? I think I'd like to see the boy Patrick Bamford start this weekend, because the last couple of times I've watched Leeds and he's come off the bench, he's been really, really good. Now, I know his fitness levels probably aren't great because he's only on his way back from a couple of different injuries and stuff like that. But I think if Leeds can get Bamford on the pitch, they'll be more than comfortable. I think they've enough good footballers, as you would have probably seen last weekend in that team, you know, to not struggle in the league, let's say. I'm gonna go 2-1 Leeds here.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I was pitching it somewhere around a draw, maybe a 2-2 draw, but I think being at Ellen Road and stuff like that, and they will be on a high from the result and stuff like that. So
yeah, they might
just shade it. Man City versus Fulham.
Yeah, I think City obviously they got a result the other night in the Champions League, but I don't think they were at their best, you know. Lots and lots of changes and stuff like that. Made a couple of subs toward the end and brought lads on that kind of put things to bed for them. Excuse me. As far as I know, they're going to be without the boy Haaland again. So I hear. Now, I think Julian Alvarez did quite well the other night. His energy levels are phenomenal. Really, really are. I think we'll probably see more of him playing out wide, because I think he's doing that sort of a Gabriel Jesus role, isn't he? You know, where he's like that little buzzsaw out on the wing, and he's putting in pressure on lads, and he's nicking balls, and he's putting balls into areas, and then obviously he can check back inside and finish and stuff. I think he'll be a big player to maybe in the second half of the season. I think City will do this, but I think Fulham won't be without their chances, and I think Fulham will probably get on the score sheet here. I'll go 4-1 City.
Really, I'm pitching it a bit tighter. I think it's going to be 2-1. I looked at City last week as well, and I thought they were a tad bit flat. I thought they just it seemed a bit it felt like a struggle at times for them. And I just think I think when you have such a vocal player like Haaland and stuff like that, no different to ourselves with Salah, or, you know, I think when you're missing that kind of that player, albeit you have other players to come in and stuff like that, but you're kind of looking around to see who will take responsibility, you know, and Foden hasn't been as good this year. And Grealish still kind of flatters a little bit to deceive. And I think
Grealish getting the hook the way he did the other night was a telling story, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was very, very poor.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem there, isn't it? That, like, you've got Haaland at such a high level, and I like the boy Alvarez and stuff, but he's not Haaland. He's kind of a different type of player. Gives you something different.
He does. He's not that out and out goal scorer. You know, he's more in the mold of a Gabriel Jesus, where he makes everyone else around him look better because of his work rate and because how he frees up space for other players. But he's not that poacher. Yeah. He's not that guy that's going to get you the goals where you need them, you know.
Yeah, I thought especially second half against Leicester, I thought they were. I thought Leicester were in control of the game for large parts of the game, which is very unusual for a Man City side and stuff like that, coughing up, and especially when it was only 1-0. Like, it wasn't the game was 4-0 and they were just letting the lads have the ball type of thing. Leicester looked very impressive at times, you know, and I just thought, like, looking at that City side, who normally has a lot of possession, controls the game and keeps the ball so well normally. It didn't look that way the other day. So I don't know. I think they'll still win, but I think it might be tighter.
I think Pep came out after the game, didn't he? And I think he spoke to James Maddison or something like that. If what I hear is right, and did he say to me, Tom Maddison, why didn't you play in the rest of the game like you did in the last 15 minutes? He said you'd have battered us. You know, like
pretty much. Absolutely.
Like, because the last 15-20 minutes, obviously, City were clinging on, and Leicester were playing all the football and really dictated an awful lot of the game. Were unlucky not to get a goal. You know, one of City's Achilles' heels of late has been conceding goals, and it just so happened they put in one of their best defensive performances in quite a while last weekend, and that was just enough to get them over the line.
Yeah, I think Leicester kind of gave them too much respect first half, really, which ultimately is what caused them. And I think they need to and stuff like that. And I think Fulham would have looked at that and would have said, like, we have a fair idea here, because Fulham's been playing this year where they haven't given teams respect and they played really,
No,
really well. And also the boy
absolutely.
Mitrovic, who we know up front, he can cause a lot of trouble to defences and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. So I think City will win, but I think it'll probably be 2-1. It'll be tight. Morris back in the comments. He's given us City Fulham a draw. Big shout, Morris. Interesting.
Morris is an AB. Morris is an ABC at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
There was ABUs and it was anyone but United. Now Morris is an ABC. It's anyone but City. While he's clinging on to the coattails there,
Yeah, anyone bar City, Spurs, or Chelsea. Forest versus Brentford.
Yeah, Forest obviously, took a real pacing last weekend, and I didn't necessarily think that was going to be the case. I thought they'd been very good, obviously, in the couple of games previous, and got a good draw and a win, obviously, a couple of clean sheets, and you thought they're going to go in here and they're going to be nice and resolute and they're going to try and make it difficult for Arsenal. From the very first minute, Arsenal were all over them. Arsenal, rather than just say how bad Forest were, we should mention how good Arsenal were as well. I thought they were very good from the word go. They took the first goal very, very well and stuff like that. And then when the change happens with Saka, you kind of think, I wonder has it deflated them a little bit, I wonder has it taken the sting out of them, but it didn't. The boy Reece Nelson came on, and obviously he'd been champing at the bit to get game time. He had a pretty good spell last year with Feyenoord on loan, and came on at the weekend and really showed what he's capable of. I don't know if Saka makes it this weekend or not, but if he doesn't, I think they've a reasonable replacement there in the boy Reece Nelson. I think from Forest's point of view, this is going to have to be back to basics. It's going to have to be try and get a clean sheet, and if we can get a clean sheet, we can get something out of it. Certainly 1 point, possibly 3. But if we don't keep a clean sheet, we're going to really, really struggle. And that's where I'd say they're going to try and keep things nice and tight. I think Brentford obviously will create chances. It's whether they can take them. At times they look like they're very clinical, and at other times they just look like they're not as clinical as they need to be. I think I'll go 1-1 with that, with the Forest and Brentford game.
Yeah, Saka should be okay. They won 1-0 tonight against Zurich, and Saka came on in the 63rd minute for Jesus.
It's still ongoing, is it not?
Was it still ongoing, is it? In the 70th minute. So Saka has just come on in the 63rd minute there for Jesus. So I'm sure he'll be fine for the weekend.
Yeah, so 71 minutes gone.
71 minutes gone. Right. Tierney with the goal on 17 minutes. Morris in the comments there, I don't mind City, Spurs never win. I don't mind City. Spurs never win anything but Chelsea. Oh, God. Interesting. I don't know.
While we're going along here, I'm actually keeping my eye on a little bet I have going on at the minute. I did a couple of games tonight. I did a little accumulator for the Thursday night football, So I did Roma. They're 2-1 up at home against Ludogorets. I did Lechke Poznan at home against Villarreal. They're 2-0 up. I did Braga. They're 2-0 up at home against Malmo. Fenerbahce 2-0 up away against Dynamo Kiev. Rennes 1-0 up at home against Larnaca. And my last team to complete my accumulator is Nice. They were 2-0 up and they've just been pegged back to 2-2. But there's about 20 minutes. There's about 20 minutes to go. So a Nice goal would make me a very happy man this Thursday evening.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know what normally happens with those ones? Nice will get a goal and Rennes will let you down. That's what happens, isn't it? Always kills us.
Hopefully not.
Marky back in the comments. Niall, did you know Dazzler's dick was in the Guinness Book of World Records? In fairness, a few minutes later, security in Easton threw him out. Oh, God. This lad's on fire.
I could have said something there and I went, you know what? I'll just take that back a notch.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me, what was your prediction again? Forest Brentford?
1-1.
1-1. I'm going to go for a Brentford win. It's kind of a shootout at the moment, isn't it, between Tony and Callum Wilson at the moment, looking for that love of Gareth Southgate at the minute. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a Brentford win 2-1.
Who do you take?
If I had a choice,
yeah,
Tony.
Yeah, I would. I knew you would have said that.
Why?
I'd probably take Wilson, provided he's fit, because obviously he's had so many injury issues.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, but a fully fit Callum Wilson who could guarantee you 4 or 5, 6 games at the tournament. Yeah, that's different. But you know the kind of thing with Callum Wilson. He'll probably end up going and he'll break down after 20 minutes in the first game or something. You know what I mean? He'll do it.
I just think he's extremely foxy. You know, he's that fox in the box inside the 6 yard. He just comes alive. And I think at times when Kane starts to drop a little bit deeper, it's just something that could add a little bit of an extra dimension to England. And if I'm honest, I think he's a better finisher than Tony. I think he's a little more clinical than Tony is. Tony's got a touch of the Andy Coles about him, where he needs 3 or 4. Now, what I will say is, I kind of feel like Tony's all-round play is better. You know, and he links the play a little bit better and stuff like that. Whereas I just think the boy Callum Wilson is just goals. That's all he's there for.
Hardest thing to do in the game, isn't it? To put the ball in the back of the net. So,
it sure is, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wolves versus Brighton. Brighton coming off a big win against Chelsea.
Brighton coming off a big win. Obviously, it was a huge performance for them because they hadn't had a win for their new manager, De Zerbi, had they? And it's a massive result to get last weekend against Chelsea and against Graham Potter. Couldn't believe what I was watching on the video screen as the goals were coming in. I was like, my God, what's going on here? They just hit the ground running from the first minute, didn't they? And if they come out like that against Wolves, they'll win the game. I just think it's very difficult. It's very easy to have a flat spot after a performance like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you've got that high, and I think everyone's going to be exhilarated after it and stuff like that. But I just think it's very, very easy then to just drop the level a little bit. And if Wolves are good and can take a chance or two, it could be a tight game. I'm actually going to go 1-1 on this as well as the Forest and Brentford game.
Okay, interesting. Couple of draws. Interesting. That might tie in nicely with what we're going to talk about later in our Beat the Bookie section, actually. Could be thinking very alike.
Sure might, you know. Sure might.
Yeah. Then the 5:30 game, Everton versus Leicester. I don't know if you've seen the video. There was a video released today looking at the progress on the Everton Stadium. Looks like it's going to be something very special. Looks the business.
I didn't see it. I did think when I saw the architectural drawings, I went, if it looks anything like the drawings, this is going to be out of this world. Really, really out of this world. And it might even, now I say might, it might even put it up to that Spurs stadium. It might. But I have to say, that Spurs stadium is a special piece of work. It really, I think they were saying,
I read today, the architect on it is the guy who designed the Staples Centre and all. So I'd say it's going to be fairly impressive, you know. But meanwhile, back at the Ranch, 5:30 on Saturday, Everton versus Leicester. Everton, how could you say it? I don't know.
You put the mockers on me there, yeah?
It did not. Ren haven't just...
They've just conceded. It's now 1-1.
And you know you're going to get another update in about 3 minutes saying that the other crowd have scored Nice. It happens every time. Every time.
Poznan, I have Lecce Poznan at home against Villarreal. They've just gone 3-0 up. Yeah. Absolutely battering Villarreal.
You sounded like in the first 3 or 4 games you're home and house. They were 2-0s, weren't they? And now one's 3-0.
2-0s and stuff like that. 2 3-0s, I think, as well, yeah.
They're those moments when you go, why didn't I just do a treble? So Everton, Leicester.
Yeah, I think Everton were a little better last weekend. I'm trying to think, who did Everton play last weekend, actually?
Get it now for you if you want.
Everton were... Did I not watch it? It was Fulham and Everton. Saturday night. 5:30. I watched it. It was 0-0.
It was it not Southampton Everton? They won
No,
2-1, no? What am I
sure
looking
wasn't.
at? I'm not going back too far then, have I?
No, it was definitely. No, it was 0-0. Fulham and Everton last weekend at the Cottage at 5:30. Yeah, I watched it. I
You're
remember.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
Everton were quite good, quite resolute, I must say. I think the one thing that strikes me about Everton though, they just don't look like a team that are going to get enough goals to blow teams away, and to finish games off. So I think this is going to be a really, really tough season for Frank, where, when they get wins, they're going to be those 1-0 wins and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of that. I think this is a model for a low-scoring draw. So for the third game on the bounce, I'm going 1-1.
Interesting, yeah, probably, yeah. I was when you mentioned there the Everton Fulham game, it was 0-0, and I was thinking, I looked at that last Saturday, and I was thinking, because the Liverpool game was on after our quarter 8,
That's
and
right.
I was thinking, God, that was a boring 0-0. I can look forward now to a feast of goals in the evening game. Finished 2-1 to Leeds.
Yeah,
horrible, just the way we think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think probably a draw. Yeah, probably a draw. Yeah, good show. Sunday now we have.
when I was doing me beat the bookie, I was struggling at times for, I was like, Jesus, there's a lot of these could go either way.
Yeah,
I mean,
Saturday's a tough one.
those last 3 games, Forest, Wolves, and Everton, you could toss a coin on all 3 of them. Now we obviously, with hindsight, on Monday night we'll have a look and we'll see how close we were to what we were looking for. And maybe they will be close. Maybe it'll be the odd goal that wins the game. But, I just think they're very, very tough games.
Dazzler, Marky, wants your thoughts on that new young striker that came on for us? I think his name is Maguire.
It was just such a strange decision. Like, and I love at times with Ten Hag that, he makes changes maybe that other people don't see, I love that. I do enjoy that, I have to say, because I know he's thinking then, and he's thinking outside the box. And even with the formation tonight, I was thinking, is he going to play Bruno on the right and Garnacho on the left and Donny in behind us? That's what you're going to do, and play Ericsson as that kind of a quarterback and stuff like that, and that was what it turned out to be. But I just saw Maguire and I was like, right, he must be going to leave the 2 boys at the back and push the wing backs much higher. And then the next minute I can hear the commentator saying Maguire's going up front. I'm going, nah, he's obviously just passing a note to Ronaldo or something. And now he trundled up there, and I was like, oh my God, this is just...
Yeah. I seen his first bit of play when he came on, he coughed the ball up to Real, so that was that, and then they ran up the wing and created an opportunity. Yeah, it's just... Yeah.
And like, for a guy of his size, right, every time the ball came across, I was like, he's going to give away a free. Like, every time. He was climbing, and you're just like, you've one job to do, pal. Just get the knockdown. Like, that's all. Yeah. Just knock it down and let everything else evolve around you. It's all you've got to do. Like,
absolutely.
Missed opportunities. Anyway.
Yeah. Sunday, we have a festival of football on Sunday. Some great matches. There's not a bad match on it, actually.
No, there's really not. Sunday's a day for staying at home on the couch and, getting a couple of cans out maybe and just enjoying your day off.
Dare I say, put on that media unit fire.
Tell you. Great to have an L 12 on this, or have a 12 o'clocker on the Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Kick it off nice and early. Get the fry into you. Yeah. Set yourself up for the day. Yeah, but we kick off Chelsea versus Arsenal midday on BT.
Huge game. Absolutely huge. Really, really is. I just think, Arsenal obviously will have had hindsight again, where they've got to see City's result coming in and playing behind them and stuff, so they'll know where they are with things. And I just think if Arsenal come out with the energy that they've brought of late, I think they'll trouble Chelsea. I really, really do. I think at times Chelsea look a bit flat and a bit lacking in energy, which isn't necessarily the hallmark of a Potter team, but I think it's more to do with the personnel. I think Potter's going to make an awful lot of changes to that Chelsea personnel when when things are allowed, obviously in January and next summer, I think there's an awful lot of players there at Chelsea that he will want nothing to do with, if I'm honest. I really, really do. I think we could see wholesale changes in January and in the summer. And I don't necessarily think they're going to be big boys and really expensive boys. I just think they'll be clever guys, and they'll be guys that fit the Potter system and that bring an energy level and stuff like that. Just look at Chelsea at times, and they're just devoid of any sort of energy, and they're so flat, from the middle of the park, and it kind of spreads all over the place. I really do.
He could do worse. He could do worse than going back shopping to his old club, couldn't he?
Absolutely. I think obviously you look at what Trossard did to them last week. I think he's obviously right up there, and I think again the boy Caicedo, because I think he brings energy. I've never been a fan of him, and I don't want to harp on at things. Jorginho, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm like looking at this guy, and I'm like, I don't get it. He's not the right type of player for this league. I'm not necessarily saying he's a bad player. He's certainly not a player we really enjoy watching around like that. But he's not a player built for the Premier League. He's obviously got that small frame, that quite slight frame. He plays the ball at a certain tempo, and I just feel like he's not sharp enough. He's not quick enough. He's not in enough guys' faces. Just think there's a lot. Yes, 2-1 Ren. Get in there, 2-1.
Nice.
Baby.
Yeah. Marky's in the comments there. I think Arsenal nick it by a goal.
Yeah, I think Marky could be right. I think 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, Morris and Dell, if you're in the comments, let us know what your prediction is for the game on Sunday. Be interesting to see what you think. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chelsea as well. What did you make last night? Losing Chilwell as well now. That's Chilwell and Reece James gone now. That's trouble for them, isn't it?
That's really, really tough. Really, really tough for them. And not only is it tough for Chelsea, but it's extremely tough for England.
Yeah,
I mean, that absolutely could have been your first choice right and left back. And they've just left the building. Now, I know on the right side you would say there's cover. On the left side, there's not the kind of depth that Gareth Southgate would like, I don't think. I think from a Chelsea point of view, this helps them a little bit, because I think Graham Potter's been trying to shoehorn the two lads into the same team, and it doesn't work because they play in the same position. The thing with Cucurella playing as a left centre back hasn't worked. It's very evident that hasn't worked.
It's a nonsense decision anyway.
He's a marauding wing back. Look at what he did last season at Brighton. Yeah. So when you're playing him there because A, you've got two £50 million left backs and you don't want to sit one of them on the bench. You're playing him there because B, you don't fancy the centre backs you have.
And you've clearly never watched Brighton play.
Right. So, it's like, it's just to do that. I think it's mental. I think it's really mental.
Well, this could be an opportunity now to see the best of Cucurella at Chelsea, isn't it? At this stage,
this is Cucurella nailed on. Yeah, this is Cucurella nailed on to play left back every week now. And if Chelsea can tighten things up and Cucurella can get a bit better going forward, it might even be a lookout for your fancy football teams to get him back in and stuff like that, because he's guaranteed game time. I think this will be tough for Arsenal or for Chelsea though. I really do, because I think Arsenal are going to bring a phenomenal amount of energy. And I think that's one thing that I'm just looking at this Potter Chelsea right now. And I know there's Chelsea fans that aren't happy with certain decisions that are being made. And that I've spoken about it before. I think the squad it's very lopsided and very unbalanced. And I don't think he likes what he sees out there. I think he's trying to do things with what he has, but it's not come off just yet. I still firmly expect him to be a huge hit at Chelsea. I really, really do. But he's going to need to be given time, and he's going to need to be given resources to change that squad around. And I think on Sunday, Arsenal will make it 2-1.
Interesting. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think.
Okay.
I like the way Potter at times sets up against the top six, and it kind of inspires him at times. And I think maybe Chelsea might galvanise themselves after losing the two boys. And as we said earlier, you might see players actually dropping into their actual natural position and stuff like that, which might help the way they play. So I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I've listened to comments from Aubameyang during the week so far talking about how he's looking forward to the game and stuff like that, and also be interesting to see if he shows up. Be interesting to see if he shows up in a big game like this. So
I've got to be honest, I think he's been absolutely abysmal. Yeah. And I think nothing has changed my opinion from what I thought of him when he played for Arsenal to what he's doing at Chelsea. I really think he's been so poor, and he's a big name player apparently, and he's supposed to be a leader and stuff like that at Chelsea, and with all the experience he has and stuff like that. I think he's been so poor for them. I really do.
Yeah, he'd be the furthest away from a Potter player that you would think anyway, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Marky back in the comments, would he play Trippier at left full? He has played there a few times and done very well, although he is a right full. He would probably do a better job than Shaw. I
don't think he has played him as a left back a number of times. I think at the minute, the way Shaw's playing, you don't play Trippier on the left. I think it's Shaw's gig to lose right now. And I think there's a much greater chance you'll see Trippier on the right. I think Trippier and Shaw isn't a bad mix, obviously both lads have good delivery and stuff like that. They've got good engines, they can get up and down. Shaw has an eye for goal at times, and Trippier obviously can get over the free kicks and stuff like that. I just think with two guys that are that offensive, you've got to make sure that they're looking after their duties at the back. And
I was about to say that one knows when to go and one knows when to hold.
That has to be that has to be the thing for England, because we know they're not blessed in that centre back position. And if Maguire does play games, which he probably will play games, let's be honest, they'll need him to be at his best, but they'll need to make sure they've got numbers back there to help him out as well.
Yeah, they struggle when they get turned on the counter. There's no doubt about that. When they get turned on the counter, they're at 6s and 8s at times,
Yeah.
Villa versus United, the 2:00 game. Interesting. Good evening, Unai Emery in charge this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be obviously good to have him back in the league and stuff like that, but I think we own one from the Europa, if I'm honest. I think we own one from the Europa because it was a game we should have won. Not obviously in the penalty shootout. It was a game we should have won earlier on and stuff like that,
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to see past United at this stage with the way things are going. Now, I'm sure you will, Niall, but I think it's hard to see past us. We're on a great run of form. I think I listened to a statistic earlier on. The 8 games since Casemiro's come into the side, 6 wins, 2 draws. He's just created that defensive solidity. He's playing that screen in front of the back four so well. We're basically playing a 5-5. And it stopped us having to play 2 defensive midfielders, which happened so many times last season where we had Fred and McTominay sitting in like that. Now, obviously, you've got Eriksen and Fernandes that can play much higher because they've got somebody like Casemiro in behind that. I don't think Emery will have had enough time to do enough with this Villa squad, and I still think they're going to have Tyrone Mings playing centre half, which gives most people a chance.
Yeah, no.
So I'm going 2-1 United.
You're going that tight, are you?
Yeah, only because we don't seem to be taking enough chances. I think we're creating chances, but I don't think we're taking enough chances just yet. Now, listen, we're still playing without a striker, really. We're carrying the old man from the sea. He's just toddling around the place, and we need to get him out of the starting 11. We may have Anthony Martial fit for Sunday. I know he left Martial and Sancho at home, because he wanted them to work on some physical stuff to possibly be ready for Sunday. Anthony and Anthony Martial. So we may end up getting the boy Anthony and Anthony Martial and possibly Marcus Rashford, which would be great because I think there's a lot of options up there in that top 3.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at my thoughts on this. I think you're going to absolutely pace them.
I don't think we'll pace them, just because I don't think we're pacing anyone. Like, I mean, even in games where we're having 23 shots like we did a couple of weeks ago in that in the Europa, we won 1-0.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling about this game. I was looking at it today, and I seen the way Villa played at the weekend against Newcastle, and they were absolutely pony. They were tore asunder. And I just think this is an opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised if 3 or 4 of your boys get on the score sheet this weekend against them. And welcome
Sure,
back
hope you're right,
to the Premier League. Yeah, no, I'd be very surprised if it's not. Southampton, Newcastle, the Governor versus Eddie.
Good game. Gonna look forward to that now. Newcastle obviously in terrific form, really, really terrific form, and obviously going to St Mary's, we know it's a tough place to go. There's a lot of sides come unstuck there. I don't necessarily think Newcastle are going to come unstuck, if I'm honest. I think it'll be dogged and resilient from Southampton, which is what you expect all the time. But I just think Newcastle will have. Sorry, that was a goal, but it was in the wrong game for me. Well, I had Anderlecht in a different bet. They've just made it 2-0. And I just think Newcastle will have too much, and I'm going to go Newcastle 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
I was thinking 2-1 to Newcastle. Yeah, but I do think Newcastle. Do you know what I think? I think Newcastle will create chances, but I just don't think they'll finish them all. That's all. But I think it could look quite dominant, and I think it could be trouble for the Governor staring into the World Cup break as well. He's not in great form at all.
He's not, but I'd say they're probably one of the sides that will have quite a large squad available to them for the likes of training and stuff like that, and I think he'd be able to kind of get a better grip of the squad, because obviously they made quite a number of signings in the summer, and things haven't gelled just yet. You're still seeing a lot of the guys from last year that haven't really got up and running,
Yeah, just my worry for them at the moment is they normally have a good first half of the season, and it's the second half where they drop off. But this time they're starting from quite a low point. So if they drop off second half, you could have a serious problem there. You remember last year they were flying high for a while, and then they tumbled right down the table, and we kind of predicted it as well. If they start tumbling now, they're tumbling right into the bottom three, and that would be my concern at the moment. And yeah, tough game against Newcastle at the weekend, so interesting. West Ham versus Palace.
I'm just actually gonna update you on West Ham, because West Ham have had a really, really impressive win tonight. Now, on the outset of it, it doesn't necessarily look like it's been a huge win. They're away from home in the conference, and I'll tell you who they're playing. There's just initials here. It's FCSB.
Steaua Bucharest.
Is it Steaua Bucharest? It is Steaua Bucharest. I can see it's Steaua Bucharest, which isn't an easy place to go. And I want to I tell you what I want to just give you here. I want to call out the West Ham starting 11. Yeah?
Go on, yeah.
Right, in goal, Alphonse Areola. Your defenders, Koufal, Ben Johnson, Ogbonna, and Aguard. This is the French lad they bought in the summer, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, Johnson's playing centre-back, not even right full, which he usually plays, right? Then you've got Manuel Lanzini. You got the Irish lad, Conor Coventry, Flynn Downs, Oliver Scarles, Davin Mubama, and Pablo Fornells, right? So it's what you would describe as a Carabao Cup, yeah? Carabao Cup, right? The substitutes they brought on, they made 5 substitutions. They brought on Harrison Ashby, Freddie Potts, Appia Forson, Simon Sawyer, and Keelan Casey, right? Again, Carabao Cup or under 23s. They've gone away from home and won 3-0 away in Steaua Bucharest with that side.
They've also won that group by 10 points.
They've won that group by quite a few points.
10 points. Yeah, they're on 80. Well, as it stands, they're 18 points, and the nearest to them is Anderlecht on 8, and Bucharest have 2 points. So you can see why he rang the changes. This is a game.
Can. No, and it absolutely is. But what I'm saying to you is to send those lads out over there to Romania.
Yeah.
And for them to go and turn over the lads 3-0.
Yeah.
and
Do
think of
you
what they
know the only thing I'm taking? Maybe Bucharest have a big game at the weekend. And maybe
possibly.
they have, I don't know what their side, I wouldn't even know a lot of their players and stuff like that.
No,
So
no.
maybe that's the case. They know they're out. Actually, they've 2 points and the nearest to them is 6. So even with a win, they couldn't come off the bottom anyway.
And you know what? If you look at the squad numbers, I think you're right.
Yeah.
They probably rested some boys as well.
I'd say so, yeah.
The only squad number under 10 was the number 5. Everyone else was over 10. And there was a couple of 98s, 33s, 44s, and 96s. Yeah. So from the squad numbers, you'd tell that.
This was basketball stuff.
Yeah, but it's still a great result for West Ham. And I think with 100%. them able to rest a lot of guys this week in the Europa, we don't necessarily have that issue of guys coming in, leggy on Sunday. And that's where it's going to obviously play into their hands against Palace. I think you'll have the boy Skamaka, you'll have Bowen, you'll have Lanzini, you'll have Souček, Rice, lots of guys right at it. West Ham were unlucky not to get something last week at Old Trafford. They really were. If you look at the 2 saves De Gea makes in the last 10 minutes from Zuma and Declan Rice, very unlucky. I think they'll beat Palace on Sunday. Now I think Palace will play their part because we know Palace are a great side. Palace will stick it up to West Ham, but I think West Ham will win this 3-1.
Yeah, interesting. Good show. And then we round out the weekend with the Super Sunday, Tottenham versus Liverpool, live from the new White Hart Lane.
Yeah, just don't know what this is going to be, if I'm honest. This is the one game, and obviously we looked at games earlier on, and you're like Forest, Brentford, Everton, Leicester. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, would the real Tottenham Hotspur and would the real Liverpool please stand up? There just doesn't seem to be that level of consistency yet for either of the teams. Obviously, Spurs have been doing better in the league. Liverpool have been doing better in the Champions League, but Spurs still managed to get through and even top the group in the end.
Yeah.
Which will obviously save a bit of heartache in the next round for them, hopefully. And like Tottenham are obviously, they're without Son now, Richarlison, Kulusevski. The numbers are dwindling in that striking area, and Harry's not necessarily scoring lots and lots of goals. I think I fancy Liverpool for this. I really do. Yeah. And with Liverpool's league form, like, that's a big show, I have to be honest. But I think Liverpool are going to cause a bit of chaos here at the back, because we spoke about Spurs, and I think Spurs need to do something with that back three. It's not working for them under Conte. It's just not. They're conceding way too many goals. They've way too many bang average players, and they're trying to put more of them in to kind of pad it out. But the more of them you put in, the more bang average players you have in your team, if you know what I mean. I think you'd be better off going in with a solid holding midfielder, a Basuma in front of the back four, sitting there, letting them play the double pivot, sticking the boy Romero +1, maybe Longley, and then have your 2 fullbacks and stuff like that. Can't believe the boy Jed Spence haven't played more so far. I really can't. He was unbelievable last year. Yes, he played in the championship, but like, if you've seen this kid, he's a baller. I don't know why Conte hasn't fancied him yet. And I think on the opposite side, they've chopped and changed between Perisic and Sessegnon, and at times both of them have looked like a fish out of water. Perisic has probably had the better of it, but at times they both looked very poor. I think Liverpool will do this. I really do. I think Liverpool will nick this 2-1.
Hopefully. Marky's in there. Pool versus Spurs could be 0-0 or 4-0. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying. We just don't know what to expect.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, I will be dropping a preview for this tomorrow on the channel anyway. I'll take a look at it in a bit more detail and stuff like that. Obviously, we wish Son all the best as well with the eye operation and stuff like that as well. An absolute huge loss from him. I know he hadn't got a great start to the season and stuff like that, but hopefully the eye operation and all goes well from me seeing back soon and stuff.
Absolutely.
Cracking player and a big player for Spurs and a very important player. I'm kind of leaning towards Liverpool, but I have a funny feeling it's going to be a draw. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
With the way Spurs are getting results, I wouldn't be shocked to see them get something. But but I think just Liverpool have the edge here. I just think they've got too much that they could hurt Spurs with, you know.
Yeah, Marky Spencer, some talent, needs more game time, has to go on loan in January. It was great for Borough and Forest, yeah. I'd say the problem there is he's obviously just not a Conte signing. He's obviously a Levy signing, I presume. That's the issue because, I mean, he doesn't lack any talent.
He was brought in under the boy Fabio Paratici.
Oh, that's right.
Who's the director of football.
Yeah.
And typically, now he's also bought the boy, there's a boy on loan at Udinese they spent some money on, and he's a wing back as well. He's a left wing back, so you're playing the opposite side. I'm gonna say it's like Destiny Udogi or something like that. And again, looks a good footballer, this lad, but like needs game time. Like nobody on that. If you look at the Spurs right hand side, yeah, you've Tanganga, doesn't do it. You've Doherty, doesn't do it. He's miles away from doing it. You've Emerson Royale. At times he looks okay, and at other times he just Udogi. That's the one, yeah.
Udogi,
and at times he looks, you know, way out of his depth. Emerson Royale, and then you've the boy Jed Spence, who I'm looking at going, he hasn't had a spin. He's the one. He's the one guy of the four who I can't even put a black mark beside his name because he hasn't been given the time. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, like, surely that has to play a part in Conte's head where he goes, okay, yeah, that one's shit, that one's bang average. If I give this guy time, I can either say shit and put him off, or I can go, right, he's fucking better than what I have out there at the minute. And like, honestly, this kid is an absolute baller. He really, really is. You know, if I went to Spurs tomorrow as gaffer, the very first thing I would change would be Jed Spence. He'd be the first player in the team. Followed closely by Yves Bissouma, who would play in that holding midfield role every single week. You know what I mean? Another guy, Bissouma, super footballer. We seen him at Brighton last year. He's not getting a sniff at times at Spurs. You know,
it's very strange and very frustrating for their fans as well to know that you have a couple of really good footballers there as well. But obviously, they don't sort of fit into that Conte mold. They tend to try things, and that obviously puts the absolute willies up Conte in terms of, you know, it's a bit like Southgate, you know, with his 12 defenders and stuff like that and all. You know what I mean? Creative players scare these managers who primarily kind of wheel their way to winning through a negative kind of way, really, you know what I mean? So any kind of creative flair gets stamped out straight away and is seen as exposure, if you like, in terms of the team.
He's looking for someone with no attacking flair. You should just play Doherty there every week because he is absolute horseshit.
Which he actually tends to do, if you notice. He kind of tends to have a kind of a thing for Doherty as well, because even if he doesn't play him, he tends to bring him on a lot as well. So maybe that fits in with what we're talking about and stuff like that, you know.
You know, I'll tell you how bad we have it on the right hand side for Ireland. I'd have Cyrus Christie in ahead of him and Seamus Coleman, the pair of them. Facts. And he's playing for Hull in the championship.
Yeah, and for you to say Seamus Coleman, that's a big stretch because I know how you feel about that situation. Let's get into the Champions League. Just want to do a quick run through. Give me your thoughts on the potential opponents. We will be covering the draw live on Monday at 11:15. I'll be live from 11:15. I don't know if you're joining me or not. You'll probably jump on maybe if you're available. I'm not too sure. You will. I
sure will. You know.
Excellent. So we'll cover the draw on Monday anyway. But I just wanted to take a quick look, just get your thoughts on potential opponents. Wait, I'll just change that so we can actually see what we're looking at. There you go. That's much better looking now. So Liverpool interesting coming second in the group. Give it a good shift there the other night to try and get there. But Porto, Bayern, Real, and Benfica are the options. Thank God Benfica came through and not PSG. That gives us one other option.
Yeah. And I mean, highly unlikely with the way the goal difference was, you know, 6-1.
And that's not me devaluing Benfica by any way either, who have been excellent this year as well.
You know, that game was 1-1 at half time. They got 5 goals in the second half.
I know, yeah. They scored, and that 6-1 that they needed was in the 92nd minute.
João Mario. That's right.
Yeah.
Ex-West Ham, isn't he? He was on loan at
So
West Ham, I think.
if you look at the way this is set up for us, we have Porto there, which is the ex-home of Luis Diaz. We have Bayern Munich, who now have Sadio Mane, who I'm sure would relish going up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. We have Real Madrid, who killed off our joy at the end of the season in the Champions League final last year. And then we have Benfica, of course, the Darwin Núñez show. So this is an interesting dynamic here in terms of choices. There's a narrative in all of these games.
Yeah, there sure is. I got to be honest. I think it's absolutely nailed on. You get born. I think it's nailed on.
I said it to Ben earlier as well. Yeah,
did you?
Just feel it.
I I can just feel it. I just when I saw the list, I just went, oh no! I said this is Mane coming back to Anfield.
Yeah.
You know, obviously
now when you were thinking this, were you thinking this is Mane coming back to Anfield to potentially put Liverpool out? Or
absolutely.
You think that's the story and the narrative that might be there? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't listen. I don't think he's going to put them out on his own. You know, I just think at the minute, you know, Bayern's league form isn't what they would like it to be. I think eventually they will get a grip on that league title in Germany, which they tend to do even when they start poorly. You know, I think Nagelsmann was kind of trying out a few different systems, obviously with new players that were brought in over the summer and stuff like that. Whereas I think now he's got a much better grip on the way he wants things done, and I suppose they didn't really replace the Lewandowski goals and stuff like that either, which is something they might try to redress in January. But I think they're a slightly more solid side than Liverpool are. I think they're a little more solid in certain areas, especially in that midfield area where, you know, games can be won and lost. I think obviously the boy Kimmich, you've got Sabitzer, you've got Goretzka, you've got Gravenberch. Like, I think most of them lads get into the Liverpool side at the minute.
Sané, Mane,
Coleman, Gnabry, Muller. You know, there's a plethora of talent.
As you named them, they all get in.
Well,
I say.
Yeah, listen, they don't all get in, but they absolutely there is some of them that get in. And listen, I suppose Liverpool's big thing will be to try and get lads fit for them, and make sure they've got the players on the pitch that they know if they can get out there, it'll give them an opportunity to win games. And don't forget,
we say maybe even a signing or two.
I wouldn't go too far. But I would certainly say none of those four teams, be it Real Madrid, Bayern, Benfica, or Porto, will relish going to Liverpool because they'll know how difficult it is. I don't think you can write Liverpool off in a two-legged tie against anyone. I just don't, because I just think Anfield and the Liverpool support, they're worth so much on those Champions League nights, and obviously it's tough. They're going to have to go away from home in the second leg, and if whoever they get in the first leg can get something from Anfield, it makes going away very, very difficult because the away form hasn't been great. You know, but I think you could have definitely had four worse opponents up there. You know,
absolutely. If PSG had been there, it would have been very, very difficult.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting. Man City then, Club Brugge, Frankfurt, Inter Milan, PSG, RB Leipzig, and AC Milan.
Yeah, I think they take anyone bar PSG, don't they?
That's kind of the tie we want, isn't it?
Probably. You know what? And I'll be honest. And I was looking at the City result last night and stuff like that, and something struck me. And I said I wouldn't put it into the WhatsApp group, but I'd hang on for today. Because I just wanted to kind of go through it on the show with yourself. United won the European Cup in 1999. Yeah?
Yeah.
The group we were in was labelled the group of death. We had a Spanish team, Barcelona. City had Sevilla. We had a German team, Bayern Munich. City had Dortmund. We had a Danish team, Brøndby. City had Copenhagen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got out of the group very similarly to how, United did and stuff like that. I just think when you look back at it, to have the three teams from the three countries that united, and we've obviously spoken about City and this being their big opportunity to win the Champions League. When I look back at it and I kind of thought, Jesus, I said they had a German team, a Spanish team, and a Danish team in their group, the exact same way United had all those years ago. I said, is that something kind of written in the stars? I just thought it was very I thought it was very, very strange. I think City beat all of those teams, and I include PSG on that. But I don't necessarily want to see City and PSG just yet, because I think that could be our final.
Okay, interesting. Chelsea, Dortmund, Bruges, Frankfurt, Inter Milan, PSG, and RB Leipzig.
Yeah, again, like there's a lot of teams here Chelsea won't fear. They won't fear Club Bruges. They won't fear Eintracht Frankfurt. They won't.
Bruges, I don't think Bruges, fear. Bruges have been excellent.
They have. Yeah, but if you look at the group they came out of, it wasn't an amazing group. Just especially based on how poor Atletico have been and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think they won't. The only team they'll want to avoid there really is PSG. I think against most of the others they'll fancy. I think Leipzig could possibly do them, but I think Chelsea beat Inter, they beat Frankfurt, they beat Bruges, and I think they beat Dortmund as well.
Yeah. PSG probably be the one they want to avoid, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. I don't think City want PSG at this stage either, because I think that becomes a coin toss. Whereas later, I think City go, you know what, we have to beat them at some stage. We'll roll it now.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when you look at the graphic? And I made the point after the Ajax game that like the Napoli game would kind of be a throwaway game for us, because it kind of didn't matter whether you came first or second. And I'm looking at their Chelsea, Tottenham, and City who topped their groups, and the permutations are kind of huge. Now, obviously, there's a lot more choice. But you look at ours, we've done all right. I mean, we've a 50% chance there, potentially of getting Porto or Benfica. Which I know Chelsea, Tottenham, or Man City would jump all over. No disrespect to Porto or Benfica, but when you look at the permutations there, where City could potentially get PSG, and Leipzig aren't going to be a pushover either. Leipzig are very good this season as well.
No, they won't be. Absolutely not. And if you look at the boys, obviously, like at Leipzig, you've got Timo Werner, the boy Andre Silva, you've got Nkunku, you've the boy Szoboszlai. There's a lot of attack and threat in that team. You've got Konrad Laimer in the middle. The boy Zarvigal at the back, like they've a lot of good players. Leipzig, I think Chelsea would still go into it thinking we can do this, like but and City would as well. I don't think there'd be any fear there, but I think Leipzig takes Spurs out all day long.
Yeah, interesting one then for Tottenham: Dortmund, Bruges, Inter, PSG, Leipzig, and AC Milan. You kind of get the feeling with Conte here, this is going to be an Italian team, isn't it? You just get that feeling.
Do you know what I really think? I think they're going to draw Club Bruges and get knocked out.
Tottenham are?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a shout now, isn't it? That's a shout. And Bruges have been excellent.
I think they get Bruges, and I think they get knocked out. And, I think they get Bruges, and I think they get knocked out.
Interesting. Because, see, the thing about it is, the thing that we're not factoring in here as well is, these matches aren't until February. So,
end of February as well.
We don't even know if Conte will be there. That's the thing. Who knows? It's an interesting one. With the others, we kind of we know Potter's going to be there. We know Klopp is going to be there, and we definitely know Pep is going to be there. But with Tottenham, that Conte thing is kind of the unknown as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it really, really is. I'm going to make my calls now. Yeah. Liverpool get Bayern.
Okay.
City get Frankfurt. Chelsea get Leipzig. and Tottenham get Bruges.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have fun on Monday now doing that live show covering the draw. Then when we've made our picks, I'll post mine up as well. I'll throw it in the comment. We'll throw them both in the comments of this show, and then we'll be able to reference it come Monday. Be interesting to see how many we get right. God, interesting. Yeah, but it's setting up for quite a second half of the tournament, isn't it? It'd be interesting. The draws, it's always down to the draw, isn't it? You need that bit of luck as well to get there, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You really, really do. Now, listen, there's another. People have always said you've got to beat the best if you're going to win that competition. You're going to have to beat them at some stage. But I think, you want to maybe keep them for the later rounds where you can build up level of confidence and some rhythm and some flow and stuff like that, and then come in against the better teams in the quarters and the semis and the final, knowing you've worked your way to. I don't think you want to be, just getting out of a group maybe like Spurs did, and then coming up against the Leipzig or anything like that and being like, Jesus, we're in trouble here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it can often go that way, can't it? They kick you while you're down, type of thing. Let's get into our beat the bookie then. But like I said, I will do a preview tomorrow for the Spurs game. Also, we'll be back on Monday with the Monday mashup, but we will be live on Monday morning, 11:15, to cover the Champions League draw as well. So just set your notifications for that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and you'll know every time we go live these days. Would you like to start as we always do?
Sure, listen, while I have the phone open, you know what I mean?
Because our resident referee pulled a gay born on me with the late show here. He sent me his bet. He sent me his bets, but he didn't send me any odds. So I don't know what the odds are like.
Well, then why don't I go through it while you can check the odds? What about that one?
I wouldn't be able to get the odds in time.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I've gone for.
We'll figure it out.
I have two little trebles for you.
Okay.
Right? I've two nice little trebles.
Okay.
I've got my favourite bet, which is my result on anyone to score.
Yeah.
A result on both to score. Yeah. I'm going to keep that one for a second because that isn't as good as odds as the first bet.
Okay.
Right? So my first bet is an anytime goal scorer. Little treble, 20-1. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds all right, doesn't it?
Does. Not too bad at all.
Callum Wilson, bang in form. Absolutely bang in form. Callum Wilson away to Southampton. Marcus Rashford, again, bang in form. Come off the bench tonight, played in a really strange position, but he'll start on Sunday. And I think he'll get a goal against Villa. Marcus Rashford is number 2. And a man who you will enjoy me calling out in third, Niall.
Yeah.
The big man, Darwin Núñez.
Charles Darwin Núñez.
Right? So we've gone Núñez away at Spurs, Rashford away at Villa, and Wilson away at Southampton. Little 20-1 treble.
Nice. Well, before you give me your second bet, I'll give you a quick rundown of Marky's because it's quite similar actually.
Oh, is
it? Marky has 3 in his treble anytime goal scorer. He has
and
Wilson.
I'll tell you which 2 he's picked. He's definitely picked Rashford and Wilson.
No. He's picked Wilson, all right, but I'll give you a reason why it's close. He's picked Wilson, Tony, and Kane. Look at this. He's giving an excuse now. First of all, he talks about Doherty. He wasn't bad at Wolves, but got to move to Spurs and start believing his own hype. And from what I hear, his attitude is stinking. Strange. Conte wouldn't tolerate that. Now he's on here. Here's the excuse now. Had a mad day, lads. Came home from Portlaoise. Dropped the kids to the mother-in-law's. Then we went out to Skerries to sign contracts to buy the new house. Congratulations to both you on the new house and the whole family. I hope you have many happy years in that house. But in future, make time and send me the odds, right? Nah, I'm only messing. Congrats on the house.
Well done, Marky.
Great time as well. Moving in for Christmas as well. Great time to be moving in.
Yeah,
so he went with Wilson, Tony, and Kane there in the treble, which I presume is going to be about, I'm thinking 12, 13-1 or something.
No, it's going to be pretty similar to what I'd say, to what I've gone with, I'd imagine.
I think so. Oh, yeah, sure. Kane will probably be decent odds up against Liverpool as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Kane will be 6-4, probably, same as Núñez. And I'd say Tony will get 23-10, similar to Rashford. And then Callum Wilson will be 11-8. So it's I'd say about 20s. Yeah. Probably 18s or 20s anyway.
Yeah, but where he links up with you, then he goes for his United bet. He has Rashford anytime. So that's where it comes in. So he could have had Rashford in his anytime bet as well if he had wanted.
Sure could have, couldn't he?
And United to win 2-0.
Okay.
So I don't know. Those ones normally pay, what's that, about 28 to 1 or something like that?
Any time in 2-0, I'd say you're talking about 30 to 1, something in around that.
About 28 or 30, So then he sent me his treble for the championship, but I don't have the matches here or anything like that. So his first pick is from Millwall.
Okay, so it's the boy Bradshaw.
Correct. And his second pick is from QPR.
Which is the boy Willock.
No.
Chair.
No.
Dykes.
Yep, Dykes. Spot on. And then his last one is from Sunderland, a man who, for us being pro wrestling fans, you couldn't get this one wrong. The Doctor himself.
The Doctor.
Yeah, you're a wrestling fan. This one should hit you straight away. Thinking Sunderland. There's only one. If I was to say Brother Love.
Oh, Pritchard. Yeah, he got one the other night, didn't he?
Yeah, got one the other night.
He got one the other night. It was 1-0 actually until the 95th minute when the boy Ahmad, who's on loan from United, got a second to make it 2-0.
Yeah. So we have JBL from Millwall, and we have Brother Love from Sunderland. So yeah, nice little pro wrestling flair.
Pretty good, Marky. I like that.
Yeah, not too bad. Marky's a good wrestling fan as well. Actually, Marky loves his wrestling as well. So that's Marky's bets. Give us your second one then.
So my second one is a nice little. I've gone from 20s with the treble call scorers, and I'm giving you 35 with my result at any time, or result in both teams to score. So I've kept things nice and close this week, Niall, you know.
That's the way
I've gone for United and both teams to score. I've stayed in Manchester. I've gone for City and both teams to score. And I've just taken a little trip down the road and I've gone to Leeds, result in both teams to score. So I've got United, City and Leeds, all result, both to score, 35 to 1. You can thank me on Monday, everybody.
Nice. I'll give you mine then. I've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bets. The Sunday one will be an interesting one for you, but we'll start off with Saturday. I did a kind of a Saturday accumulator there. So I put in Leeds, Man City, Brentford, Brighton, and Leicester. 30 to 1.
Okay.
Not too bad. Then I did a treble. There's a nice little treble there hanging around on Saturday. 3 aways. Brentford, Brighton, and Leicester. 15 to 1 for the 3 aways. Not a huge stretch when you see who they're up against.
Absolutely no.
And then I did what was it? I did a kind of a small Saturday handicap bet as well, right? All -1. And I did the double B is Brentford and Brighton -1.
That had to be good odds. Yeah.
20 to 1. 20 to 1. I'll give you my bet builder then for the Spurs pool. I went with a Liverpool win. Both teams to score. Salah anytime. Pierre Hallberg in the middle to be booked for Spurs.
You know who you should have gone with?
Go on.
Bentancur.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And
he's
over
always good with yellow.
Yeah, over 2.5. We can modify that. Over 2. The odds won't change that much from it anyway.
No.
Over 2.5, 20 to 1. An interesting bit of
very plausible.
Yeah, just a fun bet. And then the Sunday one, see what you think of this one based on the matches that are there now. And we said that this was going to be a really good Sunday because some great matches there and stuff like that. So I went with half of your favourite bet, both teams to score in all the games on Sunday. Gives you 12 to 1.
12. I was going to say 12s.
Yeah, 12 to 1 if everyone
that's all right.
On the sheet. It's another one, you know, those ones we like, those goal bets, like the fun bets where no matter what happens in it early in the game or something like that, you're still in there with your bet. So yeah, interesting.
And it also means you can have a bet up by the 35th minute in all the games as well, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's my picks for the weekend, as they say.
Excellent.
Yeah, so only left to say, as I said already, this is what we have coming up. So Spurs preview and a match reaction, of course, on Sunday. Then Monday we have a double header. We have the Monday mashup in the evening, and that morning from 10:45 we'll be covering the Champions League draw. bit of fun. As I said already, thank you to everyone in the chat and everyone viewing the shows. Of course, if you could subscribe, like, hit the bell notification. If you want to find us, we're out there: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Not too hard to find. And if you want to contact the shows, the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com, as always. My friend, until next time, a pleasure.
Thanks, pal. As always.
Cheers, bro.
See you, buddy.